Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And this, my friends, is The Thunder Show, aka WLTV, the internet's most passionate wine programming. And today, talk about passionate, we are discovering and looking into a category that really intrigues me, and I'm going to tell you why. You know, many times, and a lot of you argue with me, but I'm going to have to say it, how do I say it nicely? You're wrong. Hollywood has made this grape varietal. And last night I was looking at some search results, doing a little kind of Google action within Wine Library, seeing what people are looking at, and it kind of blew me away that not only was Pinot Noir the most searched term, but it was double of the number 2 term of Cabernet Sauvignon. So I thought, you know what, it's time to tackle Pinot Noirs, especially from California. We've got a bunch of different producers here, a couple that I've never had before at all ever, and all 4 I've never had before. So I'm super pumped about that, so much so that we brought out the big ass glass today, folks. So I'm super pumped about that. Also, I should address it immediately. In classic GV style, you know, we jumped the gun on a date, of course, hundreds. As a matter of fact, last night was one of the toughest email nights of my life. I'm going to tell you why. Not only did hundreds of you complain about the fact that that was Easter weekend and you want to come, but it's a tough day, also hundreds, maybe even thousands of you have been angry at me for retiring Sniffy Sniff. So, Mott, am I going to have to cave in for them? We're going to have to find out. I'm not sure. So that is obviously one issue. The second issue is that we are now moving the Carnival of Vino, the biggest party in Vaniac history, here at Wine Library, to the 29th. And yes, to answer your questions, Mott and I, as time will get closer, will be linking up local restaurants, local hotels. Last night was a tough night for me, Mott. Lots of emails and questions about this. Super excited about it, and really just darn excited about it. Wristband pictures, they've been on my mind. All of you saw the beautiful collage on New Year's Eve, and all of you should be ashamed of yourselves because thousands of you have not sent in the picture yet. So please do that and send it to Mott. CMott, M-O-T-T, at winelibrary.com. We'll get you part of the next collage. We need to do that. And before I blabber about the other things on my mind, I want to start the show. And really, I want to start the show with a very interesting wine because if you look at the bottle shape, this is extremely unusual and something that I think you should take note for. Pinot Noir always is in the classic Burgundy bottle, but what Coppola has done, that's right, Francis Ford Coppola, in his Director's Cut 2006 Pinot Noir, which rolls in at $19 US, which is a great number because that's Keyshawn Johnson's number and he was a great Jet. But it is time to talk about the Giants this time, right? Huh? You're excited about that. Oh, you've got the hush motion in place. We will not be talking about the game. You're going to try to ice Brett Favre, huh? What's interesting is that he has put this in a classic Bordeaux bottle. So it's in a little bit of a marketing unusual move, which I'm always for. And so for $19 US, a very fair price for what California Pinot Noirs are doing. We've got 20, 36, and 34. So one thing you can guarantee that the movie had an impact on is the price. Whether you believe me or not that it single-handedly lifted this grape varietal into America's most consumed wine eventually, it looks like, if it keeps going on this track, is one thing. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of these wines, for example, this exact wine, Patz 2006, 36 bones, only a couple years ago, $22. And the dollar's weakness doesn't affect while we're within the U.S. So, it's totally changed the landscape of the way people drink wine. Pinot Noir has really captured my imagination because it's shocking to me, once again, that movie has just been another extension of what Wine Spectator and Robert Parker represent, which is totally what I'm against with the Vayner Nation and the Vaniac movement, which is that you need to trust yourself, we need to stop being sheep and following the herd, we need to try different things, and most of all, we need to trust ourselves. Now, that being said, here's where I get conflicted within, just like the fact that I rate wines because I like sports scores. That stinks. I really wish I didn't because this show would actually have a little more leverage in the message that I know I'm contradicting myself with scores sometimes. But that being said, I adore Pinot Noir. I mean, Burgundy is one of the great regions in the world. Burgundian Pinot Noirs are so special and so exquisite. And now we're dealing in the midst of the 2005 vintage, which is outrageously powerful and exciting. So one of my big exciting things about this upcoming year is that we'll probably be doing 5 to 10 shows on 2005 Red Burgundies. A lot more Red Burgundy on the Thunder Show, and that's a darn good thing, trust me. All right, now here's the wine, some great color, and let's give this wine a sniffy sniff. I love them too much, Mott. Don't get mad at me. Great package, by the way. Wild. Did you see this? pretty cool. It's got like he's carrying his head. Really cool. Director's cut. Sniffy sniff time. I get a little bit of dark cherry, which I'm enjoying quite a bit. There's a little hint of like Tabasco sauce going on in here on the nose, which is quite intriguing and is the first thing that pinpointed onto the nose. Also some really subtle strawberry components coming through as well. Let's give it a whirl. So there's some really interesting completeness to this wine. I get almost like a cherry strawberry pie aspect. The 14.5% alcohol content is a problem in this wine. On the back of my palate, there's a ripping component, which I'm not fond of. I don't want you to rip my palate, wine. Seriously. And that's a problem with this wine. The alcohol shot too high in this wine and has really caused an otherwise pleasant Pinot Noir to get bitter on the finish, to become a little awkward. A lot of times I talk about it, that 12-year-old that's 6'1" with lots of freckles, pimples, and just awkward stage in life. That's what this wine is at this point. This is a wine that I think could, over time, grow a little bit with its fruit extraction. Alcohol could tone down and could become a more interesting wine. But at this point, this wine is a complete pass. I'm actually going to score this wine 83 points. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a problem because Santana Moss is a traitor. And, he's now a Redskin, not a Jet. So that number doesn't sit very well with me. So a wine that I really think that you should stay away from. At $19 US, there's just millions and millions of other wines to be seeking out. Now, this is a wine I'm really unfamiliar with. This is the Lilly 2006 Sonoma County Pinot Noir. This wine rolls in at 20 bones. Very small producer, 14.9 alcohol content. That first struck me as interesting. Again, a very high level of alcohol for a Pinot Noir, but also a wine that I've never heard of, and then all of a sudden I look, and it's one of our biggest selling return item Pinot Noirs, so obviously the people out there are enjoying it, so we're going to give it a whirl. Now, interestingly enough, you hardly ever hear me say this, not the greatest color. Come on, what do you think about that? That's a rarity. Probably said that less than anything on the show. Very light in its color. You can see really right through it. Usually I like the fact that you can see through Pinot Noirs, but this is extremely light. Not sure what's going on there. Let's give it a little bit of a sniffy sniff. Now, off top, if I was in a blind tasting, I would think that this was old world in style, and that is a compliment. I like the funky funk. This has a little bit of that, I just played 13 games of horse with my friend, came home and took my socks off and gave it a nice sniff. That's what's going on here. There's serious funk action coming on here, a little bit of dirt. There's also an asparagus green aspect coming through on the nose. Clearly a wine with nice velvety vanilla cherry mixed in there. So clearly a wine, had I not known that this is from California, that I would have thought is from Burgundy. So not that I hate on Pinot Noirs from California, but this is a style on the nose that I much more enjoy. So off to a really good start. Let's give it a whirl. The raspberry police have stormed into my palate, and I'm pretty darn happy about it. This is an absolute explosion of raspberries, which are coming through so... This wine is really good. I'm really, really surprised right now. From a winery I'm not sure of anything about, from Sonoma County, which gives it a lot of flexibility to get grapes from anywhere. We're not talking about a state and a single vineyard wine. And this wine is extremely well made. Immediately I need to figure out who the heck is making this wine. 14.9 alcohol, and I can't taste it at all. 14.5, all up in my grill. A major difference. What does that tell me? The fruit in this wine, not doing its thing. The fruit in this wine, starring, singing, doing its thing. And really, really interesting. I have to try. This is really good. To me, this is the kind of wine that you desperately want to pair with a duck. A lot of people love Pinot Noir with ducks. This has the classic Burgundian finish, not very explosive. This is not a wine that sees any Syrah in it to give it the oomph and the bite that all these cult Pinot Noirs from California are using as their secret sauce. There's no secret, folks. We know it's Syrah and Petit Syrah. Pinot Noir is not supposed to be pitch black, so you're exposed. But here, none of that. Classic, clean. Really what I loved about Pinot Noir, pre-sideways. If you think Pinot Noir is the same animal it is today, it's not. It's like anybody else, got some fame and now it's acting out. It's kind of, is Pinot Noir Britney Spears? Come on. Is this a theory that I've just hit on? I mean, really, but that's what's happened. This is a wine that is completely transformed in California. Don't forget, they can use 15% of other grapes, and many winemakers have started using Syrah and Petit Syrah to put into Pinot Noir to make them bigger, bolder, American. I know, and that's the thing. And so when I find a wine from Cali that brings this classic, it's that subtleties that you enjoy, a classic beauty, the no makeup, the humbleness, and the fruit and the cleanness. Just an inspiring kind of wine, a great wine with food, and a wine that I'm really enjoying. I'm going to score this wine 90 points. I yapped about it a lot for only giving it a 90, I understand. It's obviously got some flaws. It could have a little more flavor, could have a little more charisma. Could be a little bit more strong on the mid-palate to finish transition. That's where this wine dips a little bit. It's really strong, and then just a hair, you really get hollow and no flavors, and then the finish is solid. A wine I clearly enjoy. You saw I gulped it, which is a rarity, and a wine that I think you should really seek out. I really don't know much about this. I don't know how widely available this is or not, but definitely a wine that you should want to seek out. It's a really good start and really put me in a good mood. I'm excited about that. Now I'm really excited about this. A legendary winery, one that I've had respect for since I was 16 years old. So, Patz and Hall, 2006, Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir, $36 US. So obviously a wine that is not going to be an everyday night kind of wine. This is more of a special occasion wine. 36 bones is a lot of money for a bottle of wine. I get it. I understand it. On the flip side, when you compare it to great Burgundies that roll in at 70, $100, not crazy for a top-notch producer from Cali. Again, there's Sonoma Coast, which is more of their entry-level style. 36 bones. Let's see what's going on. Again, really, a little bit darker than the last wine. Clearly, last time we showed that, color is not going to have the overall impact. Sniffy sniff time, because it's what you demand. Nice wine, much more classic in its approach on the nose. This has got the classic strawberries and cherries and a little bit of black pepper that you like to see from a lot of vineyards making Pinot Noir. It's got a little gaminess going on, a little pig snout, little reindeer butt. It's got a little bit of a gaminess, a little venison action going on here on the nose, which is nice, and I'm appreciating. Let's give it a whirl. Much bigger on the mouthfeel than the previous two wines. A real explosion, a heaviness, almost like having heavy cream to your coffee. It's, the coffee compared to the heavy cream, 50-50, like I do it. Lots of cream. It's like, do you want some coffee with your cream? Kind of like that, but I really don't drink coffee or Red Bull or anything else. This is all natural, folks. I should bottle it and sell it, Mont. Anyway, but it's that kind of difference on the palate. Water and milk. I mean, it's a very creamy, heavy wine. There's a little bit of the oak monster in here, and that concerns me a tad. And especially as I continue to yap along and my palate's bouncing around, it's becoming even more, dairy, as I like to call it, which becomes an after effect of using too much oak. So that's concerning me. The fruit, however, is on point. This is clean, beautiful, strawberry, rich, full, like the fruits you buy in Wegmans and Whole Foods compared to that shady corner, one-store unit place. So I'm liking this wine. There's a lot of pros to it. The over-oaking is bothering me too much. Now, for some people, that is not a problem and not a factor. And so you need to consider that. If you like the oak, just how to do it. Wide left. I mean, that's just a preview to the NFC Championship game. Just remember I said it. Anyway, the oakiness is overbearing on this wine, and it's bothering me. Otherwise, lots of good stuff going on. And for that reason, I'm going to score this wine 89 points. My personal reference. However, I think a lot of people would enjoy this wine. The oak bothers me a lot more than I think it bothers most people. And so at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I got to call it like I see it. And for me, that's what it is. Now, while I'm at it, I need to talk about a very classic episode. Episode 125. Link it up, baby! Episode 125, a great maniac, who I think we've lost, sadly. I think he was studying and he got busy. Jason Hicks made an amazing highlight reel of the Thunder Show. A lot of new maniacs. Tens of thousands, actually. So a lot of you have never watched this episode. So scroll down. There's a link. Mott links it up. That's what he does. He links it up. A great episode. Well, now I'm asking, begging, pleading, because we're busy here. Is anybody else out there got the skills to do a highlight reel from episode 125.6 up? There's 300 episodes to work with. We need somebody, a savior. Is there an editor in the room? Forget the doctor. We need your help. Everybody else, check out 125 if you haven't. It is absolutely, positively one of the great things. Also, Friday, I'm going to be on the laid back couch. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, so you can ask me questions. You can see that right over here. I know if you're watching on iTunes or on your iPod, you have no idea what I'm talking about, or on YouTube or somewhere else, but if you're on winelibrarytv.com, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right over here, you can ask questions through Facebook, and while you're at Facebook, there's a couple of funny things going on. I've been trying to answer people directly from their questions a couple of times. I notice a lot of you don't friend me up. You use the application, but you don't friend me up. That's a problem, because we got a whole pattern over here. I want to be friended up. I want to be your friend. Can we do that? I appreciate it. Breggo. 2006 Anderson Valley Pinot Noir. This wine rolls in at 34 US dollars. Did Herschel Walker wear 34? I almost feel like he did. You must have hated him, right? He was a cowboy, he was a Viking. 34 bones. Let's see what's going on here. Really nice color going on. This one I'm excited about trying because Breggo is a very small producer that I've been hearing a little bit of buzz. You know, I have my ear on the wine floor, and so on the cellar floor. Oh, I like that, having my ear on the cellar floor. Should we trademark that too, Mott? Anyway, so this is a winery that's making some buzz around the very serious wine drinkers. So this is my first attempt at this wine, and I'm pretty excited about it. And to be honest with you, as I'm yapping with you, the nose is already attacking me, so let's give this wine a sniffy sniff before it gets out of hand. And this wine possesses something the others had not shown whatsoever. This has a very high level of pomegranate coming through in the nose, which, you know, pomegranate's hot. You know, they're paying $5-6 for those little palm juices. That's insane. There's also some really nice, again, lots of cherries are coming through as well on this. Really black cherry soda-esque, really even. The pomegranates are really singing. There's also some bark, like sticks and a 2x4, a little hacksaw Jim Duggan action, but not oaky, more like little sticks, you know, just like that you would start a fire with in a campfire. So it's got a little bit of that sticky, barky kind of thing going on. Lots of pomegranates, loads of cherry. Very, very nice. Not bad at all. Little New World, little rainbow action. Let's see what's going on here. Interesting. By far, the biggest fruit bomb in the 4 wines that we did today. However, I think they absolutely nailed it. I really do. And now I'm starting to understand why there's some buzz around this winery. This, my friends, and this is so funny. I've been yelling about maybe some Petit Syrah in it. This is so rich, so big that my cheating radar is like, did you use HGH? Have you have a little Petit Syrah in here? And that's kind of intriguing because what this wine has that I find a lot of fruit bombs don't have, which is why I kind of pick on them, is balance. And it didn't go over the top. There's nothing wrong with being very confident. When you get ridiculously cocky, the game is over. And that's how I kind of give the analogy on this wine. This is just a very confident wine in its fruit bomminess. I know who I am, and this is what I'm about. But it's very polished, great mid-palate, gorgeous red licorice kind of components dancing all around. It's a Twizzlers party in there, folks, and it's really darn nice. This is a home run. This is absolutely a wine that people should seek out. To me, this is an interesting wine. This is their standard wine. This is actually their Anderson Valley, which is a blend from their 3 vineyards that they own or lease from. I'm not sure what the situation there is, and make this wine. This is a small family winery that I think has some serious upside potential to it. So much so that I'm going to do something I don't normally do. But Mott, link it up. Let's put a link up to their mailing list, because this is the kind of wine that I think, as people start tasting this, and as it starts getting real big ratings from the real wine critics, that more and more people are going to be seeking out. And there's a good chance that we'll be in a situation where most retailers won't have a chance to even get this wine. So because I love the Vayner Nation, because I want them to be always on top of stuff. This is a mailing list that you should seek out. This is already tasting on my palate as a wine that has cult-like ability to get very big and very famous, because I think there's amazing value for $34 for this type of Pinot Noir. There's a lot of Pinot Noirs that roll in at $70, $80 that everybody's clamoring for and selling their firstborn child to get a bottle of that are not as good as this wine. To me, this is a 92 plus effort, knowing that this is their entry level to the Pinot Noir game, unless they got a little too out of bounds with the other two efforts. This is a winery that should be very much seeked out. I'm sought out. I'm absolutely, positively enamored with this effort. This is very good. A fruit bomb that does it perfect. And so it happens. It's unfortunate people got a little too silly. Pretty good episode. This lily really, you know what? After this bomb, hold on 1 second. Just curious how this lily will taste such a different wine. Just for fun, and this is great if you ever taste, they always tell you to taste the lightest to the heaviest. Sometimes it's fun to try a Pinot Grigio after having a Cabernet, or a Tarantis after having a big Barossa Shiraz. It's not so bad. I actually think it gives your palate flexibility. Very fascinating, no kidding. As I was going up, just on the aromatics alone, there was more vegetal and more funky and more, almost a little cow poopy action going on. I know, but it's good, I'm telling you. It's subtle flavors. Question of the day. Something that interests me, so I figured I'd ask. That's, I can be a little bit, selfish. When did you start watching The Thunder Show? You can give me the episode, you can give me 4 months, you can say yesterday. Whatever it is, I'm curious. Just don't lie. Ma would lie. You like that one? Because you, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, whether they like it or not. March 29th.